no quiero que le paren a mi papá, no quiero que lo deporten.
Between May 5th and June 9th, over 2,300 children have been separated from their parents at the United States-Mexico border. These children, ripped from their parents' arms, are sent to live in the facilities run by the Office of Refugee Resettlement. If they're sent to the detention center in McAllen, Texas, they'll be sleeping on mattresses on the floor, surrounded by chain-link fences. Lawmakers, organizations, and activists from across the aisle are speaking out in protest of this policy. Republican Senator Susan Collins says,
"It is inconsistent with our American values to separate these children from their parents."
Values like integrity, bravery, equality, diversity, unity, freedom, intellect, hard work, economic mobility, and equal opportunity. But what we say we value as Americans is different from what we've shown we value. 20th century American historian James Truslow Adams said the American dream is that dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. A dream of social order in which each man and each woman shall be able to attain the fullest stature of what they are innately capable, and be recognized by others for what they are, regardless of the fortuitous circumstances of birth or position. Not only is that ideal professed to us as Americans, but it's what's projected across the world. Is it any wonder that people fleeing natural and man-made devastation look to us as a beacon of hope?
Fascinating. Simi, look at this. America is great indeed. Imagine a country so free, one can throw glass on the streets.
Imagine if these refugees were able to see the Statue of Liberty welcome them as she welcomed the huddled masses of Europe instead of border agents. Imagine it, huddled on boats, leaving all they've known for a hope of a better baseline existence. These ancestral Americans of yore. Can you see today's immigrants in a different light? Escaping drug cartels and government corruption, fleeing with only the most important possessions to a strange new world. She holds a torch to illuminate a path to a better life. She is liberty enlightening the world, after all. She looks up to the heavens, perhaps remembering the words of Christ saying, "Let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Or the second greatest command, of love your neighbor as yourself. Surely a greater command than Jeff Sessions' recitation of Romans 13.
Obey the laws of the government because God has ordained the government for his purposes.
And it seems that those who have devoted their lives to biblical scholarship disagree with our Attorney General.
I don't think we should obey a law that goes against what God intends, that you would take a baby, a child, from his or her mom. I mean, that's just unjust, that's unbiblical, that's un-American. There could be no Bible passage that would justify that.
The separating of families is a long-standing American action, every bit as inhumane then as it is today. But that's who we are, isn't it? Dividing families on the auction block, in the internment camp, and the Indian school. Destroying the family unit out of fear, out of capital gains, out of supremacy. All in the name of American values. And this is the paradox of our American values. Our founding fathers declaring that all men are created equal, and yet the majority of them own slaves. Relishing in our right to protest, and yet punishing athletes for peacefully protesting injustices. Honoring our veterans, and yet there are about 40,000 people experiencing homelessness who once served our country. And yet, and yet, and yet. That Romans 13 quote, by the way,
it is very biblical to enforce the law.
It's been used to justify slavery in concentration camps. There was once a day when Americans fought against the tenets of Nazism. Surely members of America's greatest generation would be disappointed in their grandchildren waving a flag whose values they fought to abolish. As if this country is not populated by the descendants of people escaping persecution. As if we don't believe that everyone deserves life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As if being born on the other side of an imaginary line has anything to do with your worth. As if crossing that line makes you a criminal. Children are being put in detention centers because this administration has chosen to prosecute their parents. And yes, it is a choice. Under the Obama administration, families were detained together. During George W. Bush's presidency, families and minors were exempted from his own zero-tolerance policy. Prior to that, it was rare that families were detained. They were usually released and required to attend an immigration court hearing. Never before have families been separated at this rate, with children taking care of other children while living in a cage. This zero-tolerance policy towards those crossing the border is akin to arresting and taking the child of every person going 10 miles over the speed limit with their kids in the car.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proud?
There are people every day, born citizens of other countries, who pledge allegiance to our flag because being an American still means something. If given the chance, multitudes of those at our southern border would take the time to learn what is needed to pass the U.S. citizen test and flourish. But they're living in an area of terror and strife, just trying to find a way out. It's time for us to step up and be who we say we are. The land of the free and the home of the brave. And who among us is braver than a person who lost everything they've known, forced to flee their home to a country they're not sure will welcome them? The American values paradox is proclaiming one set of ideals while working against those ideals being accessible to everyone. It is historical erasure. It is cognitive dissonance. And if we keep it up, these will be the only American values we have left.
Now McDonald's always has one extra value meal for $2.99. Might be this one, this one, this one. If you want to know, you gotta go. Come on, no food fights.
At the time of this recording, President Trump has announced that he will sign an executive order preventing the separation of these migrant families. This policy can be changed with a phone call. No need for the pomp and circumstance of an executive order. Are ethics only actionable when others' eyes are upon us? The answer today and every day should be no. This is happening in our backyard on our watch. So maybe you're in California, or Utah, or Alabama, thinking, how can I help? Donate. Donate your money, and if you can't do that, donate your time. You can donate your money to many worthy causes, aiding these human beings in great need. If money's tight, take a moment to call your senator, call the White House, and attend one of the many rallies being held across the country on June 30th. Talk to your friends, family, and coworkers. And remember, ignorance is a privilege, and silence is a luxury.